feels so good, right? Feels fantastic because the Denver Broncos got a win. I know. It's Jacksonville. But a win is a win, and it counts, and it goes into the right column, and that's why we are here to talk about it. It is orange and blue today. It is Cecil, Lammey. It is Andrew Mason. It is Halloween. So, Mace, I can wear a cowboy hat any day because I'm actually a cowboy, and I could rope and ride Broncos. But on Halloween, I get lazy because I'm like, I could dress up like whatever, and then I go, I'll just put my cowboy hat on. Yeah, it's fine. It's a cowboy hat, right?
Yeah. Did you really just say rope and ride Broncos like
Garth?
Garth?
Of course. I knew you'd get that.
In
We're
Texas.
in Texas. Woo!
Howdy, y'all. Or you can be magically whisked away to Delaware.
We're in
Hi.
Delaware.
I'm in Delaware. My costume, as D-Mac would call it, the Jersey tuxedo. I think this is a very I'm in Delaware outfit that I have on today.
All right. Okay, there we go. So I hope everyone has a safe and happy Halloween. But Mace, before we jump into X's and O's and trade deadline and blah, 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 doesn't it just feel better after they win? I know it's Jacksonville. It doesn't solve everything. Not everything's fixed. There's a ton to work on. But damn it, it feels good that they won.
I observed the 24-hour rule on this, in which I was going to just accentuate the positive as much as possible in the 24 hours after the game. I think the only I didn't have much negative to say. The only negative thing it was perceived that way was my weekly tweet about QBR, because Russell Wilson, once again, did not have a good ESPN QBR and remains among the bottom quarterbacks of the league. And someone DM'd me about it, like, you only say negative things about Russell Wilson. I'm like, and I'm like, sir, or whoever. I don't think I did a pronoun because I'm not sure if it's a sir, ma'am, they, whatever, anything else. And I don't want to be wrong. Said the thing is, you're not the first person to tell me this, because last year when I would put the QBRs out after every game, like the Drew Lock people complained that I was trying to pull down Drew Lock, when I'm like, I did it for Bridgewater every week.
Right.
It's just,
Well, dude, what's happening? Because I tweeted out, like just innocuously or whatever. I may be getting that wrong, Mace, because I get a lot of things wrong. But like, I just tweeted out something innocent, like, "Hey, run the ball, play great defense. What a recipe!" And someone on Twitter was like, Russell Wilson. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like the lone Russell Wilson defender. So when I don't bring him up, I didn't say like avoid Russ or they have to do this because Russ sucks. I just said, hey, run the ball, play great defense. What a combo. And someone was like, Russell Wilson. I'm like, oh my God, you guys either hate him or you hate everyone else that doesn't bring him up or fawn at his feet.
There is something really weird that has happened in the last week or so.
Yes.
And I think it is, I'm not sure if they're bots or they're burners or what, or just bots or burners or stands. Okay. But I feel like you've seen it. I know I've seen it, that anything negative about Russell Wilson, you're just getting drilled on in responses. And I actually looked up one of them to see, like, okay, why is this person coming after me like it? And it was a bunch of stuff about Sierra. So I think the other thing is you're getting people that are kind of in love with the whole Russ Sierra celebrity angle of it, that were Sierra fans, that are now like, view this as, oh, you're coming after Russell Wilson, that probably don't understand that this is just how covering the NFL is, right?
Right.
I mean, I think you and I have succeeded in our critiques of Russell Wilson not having it be personal. Some of it out there has been personal. Like,
yes, and we've called it out.
Kyle Brandt, what he said a few weeks ago, that was personal. There was no reason to have that out there. There's more than enough to discuss, good and bad, when it comes to the football. The good on Russell Wilson yesterday, he delivered when it mattered the most. The Jaguars do not know how to win. Russell Wilson knows how to win. That was the difference yesterday. Jacksonville, that's a team of players that by and large do not know how to win in this league. And Russell Wilson knows how to win, and he got his teammates on the same page. And as a collective, they figured out how to win that game. That was the difference. I would argue that was the difference against Houston back in week 2, right? Broncos didn't play well then. Russell Wilson let a touchdown drive when it mattered most. Russ knows how to win those types of games.
Yeah, and Russell Wilson, we're going to talk good and bad, and we're going to keep it fair. But, this team kind of found a little bit. I did the Players Club this morning, and Orlando's like, I think they found an identity. So, Mace, do you think the Broncos found an identity on Sunday?
I think they took a step closer to it. You're going to hate it because part of the identity is running back by committee, who,
Yeah.
who,
As long as
whoever's
they commit to running the ball at this point,
Right.
I just don't care.
And give Marlon Mack some work as well.
Yes.
I mean, you don't have Javonte Williams. You're gonna be trying to figure this thing out in the aggregate. That's okay. Some days Latavius is going to be the best runner. Some days Melvin Gordon's going to be the best. Some days Marlon Mack is going to be the best. It's going to be a matter of figuring out which one does it. The reason Marlon Mack played or did not play Sunday was because he's just not up to speed yet. Very similar to Latavius Murray when he got out here from London a few weeks ago. So there's that. And then taking your shots downfield. Greg Dulcich is a part of that. KJ Hamler is a part of that. And I like getting Jerry Jeudy involved as well. I mean, right now, Cecil, and this is going to be in my numbers piece at denverfan.com that I'm posting right after this show, the forgotten man's Courtland Sutton. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, everyone else right now, KJ Hamler, Jerry Jeudy, and Greg Dulcich, they're all more dynamic right now than Courtland Sutton is.
Yep. And I know Nathaniel Hackett, who I don't know if he understands that football fans are really good fans, or if he's just trying to say, because coach speak is one thing, but Nathaniel Hackett being like, well, there's a lot of double coverage out there. No, there's not. No, there's not. Now, I've only watched the game twice, and I watch on Exos, not on Game Pass, because, Mace, I'm a snob, and I have team access. It's not the Broncos, by the way. But either way, like, in watching this game, Jerry Jeudy's just getting open. Sutton's not getting open. So for the whole, like, are there double teams? Are there sometimes a safety over the top? Yes, sometimes. But sometimes that's the case for Jerry Jeudy. It's that Judy's getting open, Dulcich is getting open, Hamler's getting open, and Russ is going to the open guy.
Right. He's not married to any preconceived notions of what a player is. And I mean, look, there's a wider discussion to be had about Courtland Sutton because he is not the same player that he was pre-ACL.
No.
It does make me concerned about Tim Patrick next year because in the case of both Timmy Patrick and Courtland Sutton, we're not talking about guys who had much speed to spare. They were, they're contested catch guys, right? And there's a place for that. But they didn't have much in terms of raw speed to lose. And if you take that, then it further limits what you are in terms of being an NFL pass catcher. I mean, I think watching yesterday, and this is part of the identity, I think we can see the identity of this passing game coming into play. And I mean, I don't know that Greg Dulcich is going to be on 1,000-yard pace per 17 games like he is over the last 3. Can Greg Dulcich be a guy who gets you 50 yards a game? Yeah, I think he can. I think he absolutely can be. Yep. I still want to see them get the ball into KJ Hamler's hands more. I want to see KJ Hamler targeted 5 times a game.
Yes.
5 times. I'm not saying he has. I'm not saying game up to 10.
Think of the influence that does on the defense. It doesn't even need to be like you just throw it up there and overthrow him if you can. And actually, Russ did, which was amazing. D-Mac and I were talking about that earlier. But like the decoy that Dulcich could be and that Hamler could be, they deserve more involvement. And then they're blocking their ass off. Hamler's out there digging guys out.
KJ worked so
on the
hard.
Jerry Jeudy touchdown. He worked so hard. Dulcich,
he worked
not
so
a good
hard
blocker. But he's working on it, and you got to, reward that, appreciate that with some targets, man.
The phrase willing blockers. Well, I mean, it's more than just willing. It's having that kind of desire, the want to. I watched KJ Hamler, and I watched him block. That dude fights. He's got the dog in him, this KJ.
Yes.
And that's another reason why I don't want the Broncos to trade KJ, because they need some guys with some dog in him. And he's just, I don't know. When he makes a play, you feel good. Like KJ Hamler kind of affects you viscerally in a positive way when you watch him play. Because everything he does, whether it's a post route or whether it's blocking, KJ does it with enthusiasm. It doesn't matter if he's going to get the ball or not. He does it with the same gusto and the same desire every snap he's out there. And the same goes for Greg Dulcich. Let's face it, a critique of Jerry Jeudy is that he doesn't always go at plays with gusto when he's not the primary read, right?
If he is, then he does.
Right. I want to see some of the enthusiasm and some of the relentless effort from KJ and Dulcich transfer to Jeudy. I still think it can. I still think the light bulb can turn on for him. And I'll tell you this, the last couple of games for Jeudy, maybe the best 2-game stretch of his career so far.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're seeing some good plays out there, and if I may opine, Mace, I
This is
believe
all
that
it's all opining on this show.
I believe that KJ Hamler, like some other players, not Dulcich necessarily just because he's young, and it's not like KJ's old, but it's what I call the crucible.
Yeah.
He's gone through what we call a football near-death experience. Football's almost taken away from you. And
Yeah.
KJ Hamler may be a second-round pick, and he may have special speed, and he may be a skilled receiver, but when you have that sort of injury, a major catastrophic injury, you start to think about your football mortality. You
Right.
also start to think about how much you love this game. And when you love it like KJ, we all just want to find someone to love us like KJ Hamler loves football, because you can tell.
Oh yeah. And he is not going to let this career go without giving it everything he has. Look, just to get out there and practice every day, he's going through like an hour of stretching, an hour of treatment every day.
Of course,
You know, a lot of guys, yeah, he is going through more on a daily basis to get ready just to practice than anybody else in that locker room, except maybe Russell Wilson right now, because Russ went through a heck of a lot this past week to be able to play on a partially torn hamstring and to be able to get some runs on a partially torn hamstring, and a big one, right? A run that was a scramble on 3rd and 5 that was literally the difference between a tie game and winning the game, right there. And that was Russ on a partially torn hamstring. And I think we got to the whole of Broncos country, the whole of the NFL has to give him credit for that.
1000% Orange Blue today. Cecil, Lammey, Andrew Mason talking about the Denver Broncos. And there's one more thing about Hamler that we need to highlight. I don't want to make a big deal out of nothing, but isn't that kind of what we do? I will say this. Russell Wilson has a relatability problem. We all know that. And that's not personal. That's just telling it what's happening right now. But after the game, when he's getting interviewed, and Hamler runs over to Russ like mid-interview and like jumps on his back.
I love
that's
that.
my boy.
Love that.
That shows you the realness that Hamler could be the guy that finally gets through to Russ. You know, that it's like, because Hamler's just love of this game, and Russ loves this game. They both love ball. They both have to do a lot just to get out there on the field for varying reasons. But I think it's that kind of KJ acceptance, you know, because you don't see other guys be as warm with Russ as you saw with KJ. That was visceral. That was real. That was raw.
Mm-hmm.
And it was unscripted. You know, it wasn't on KJack TV or whatever. And like, hey, I'm my two chefs. No, this was like after a game, that's my guy, jumping on him. And I think that little sign shows you, and this is why I put it on Twitter. They may not really relate to him, but they want to. The guys want to like Russell Wilson. Whether that happens, that's to be discovered, but they want to like and love their leader.
Yeah, and another thing that I think has happened is that when you have someone like KJ and Russ, like you say, they both love football, but they're sharing the experience of dealing with a lot of pain right now.
Yep.
And I don't think this is a Super Bowl team. I mean, I think we can take those discussions. We can just put them aside for this year, right?
Right.
The goal, if they come back and make the playoffs, you've accomplished the goal, right? If they come back from 2-5 and they're in the postseason, we are excited about next year. But the thing is, I think if you take that long-term view and say, okay, each thing along the way, each step is a part of getting toward your eventual goal. Maybe the evolution of this team with Russell Wilson it's going to be different than people expected. And maybe part of it was really seeing adversity, true adversity, and feeling like the whole world was against you, which is certainly how it felt the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're out of that just yet. I think there are some more us against the world moments to come, but I think that's going to bring this team together. This team together going forward, and it'll be fascinating to see kind of the evolution of that over time. I don't want to put too much on this because again, you beat a team that's 6-35 over the last 2+ seasons since the start of 2020. The Jaguars do not know how to win, clearly, but you know how. But you're learning how to win. You're figuring it out, and again, a drive like that, a moment like that. I mean, that could allow you to steal a game in Tennessee in 13 days.
And that's why you say, do we know, Mo? Like, yeah, momentum. That's Sweet Home Alabama for those counting at home. I speak in movie quotes, Mace, as you well know.
Oh, I know.
Because we're in Delaware.
See, you're the Sweet Home Alabama. For me, it's not a movie quote. When I think of Mo, I think of Dick Vitale. He had to have when momentum. Uncle Mo. Uncle Mo's on the Tar Heel side, baby. Like that.
Well, so now maybe on the Broncos side, and yes, it's Jacksonville, but you have a bye, you went away, you figured some things out, and it seems like, at least on the 98-yard drive, now after the 98-yard drive, things got a little off, but it seems like Nathaniel Hackett continues to learn and to grow. So he's not perfect. I don't even know if he's the coach next year, but I like seeing him learn and process things. And part of that learning was balance. You needed balance. You needed those runs to help lead the way. You needed to go for it on fourth down. Like, go for it. Show that confidence. And he did, and it paid off.
The good was the balance. Thought he did a better job play calling in general in this game because of the balance. The bad is, you still had 2 delayed game penalties on special teams. You had delayed game penalty on a kickoff. I mean, there are still these management and procedural things that are not working right now. Okay. So as we're getting mocked for saying playoffs.
Well, yeah, that's when a game.
Yeah. Look, Philadelphia was 2-5 last year, and they finished 9-8. Remember, there are 7 teams in a conference that make the playoffs, not 6. So there's a pretty good chance that most years we're going to see a team that's a very homely 9-8 that sneaks in. So look, are the Broncos' playoff chances great? Heck no. We're realistic about that. Probably about 1-7 at this point, right? At best. It's a long shot. This is part of why you're thinking about trading Bradley Chubb, even though we got to get into that. It's I think reaching the point where you're going to have to make a deal and then just hope that your investment in Nick Bonito and Baron Browning moving him to edge and Randy Gregory ends up playing off. But it's a long shot. Let's be clear, but it doesn't mean it shouldn't still be your goal.
I like what Jerome says here, and Jerome, if it's Jeremy, just correct me because I get a lot of stuff wrong. Good teams have to beat bad teams. No apology. Yeah, it's on their schedule. The Jaguars suck. The Jaguars don't know how to win. Yes, we all know this. Broncos won. It feels good. Can build momentum, and as you mentioned, you got Randy Gregory perhaps coming back. Baron Browning, hopefully his injury thing clears up a little bit. And Nick Bonito, we're seeing some good things. Part of my 3 observations at denverfan.com. And that's why if there is a first rounder involved in a trade for Bradley Chubb, my answer is yes. Love Bradley, good man, good in the community. You get a first rounder, you do it. Even if you had a first rounder next year, I'd say you'd still do it, but especially because you don't.
Yeah, and literally the quote from Adam Schefter to D-Mac and Derek Wolfe a little under an hour ago over on The Drive was, quote, "There is a team out there that has offered a package that includes a first-round draft pick for Bradley Chubb." And the interesting thing is, like, he elaborated, and it was basically like it's a first rounder and.
Then the answer is yes. Then the answer is yes.
Yeah, you have to do it. Now, that may be only one team's offer. It sounds like there are other teams in the mix, but maybe the other offers, there's an and, but there's not that first rounder. But if you're getting a first rounder, I mean, this is the point where you just have to say, look, we've invested in this position. Oh, by the way, if you don't bring back Bradley Chubb, to me, then your pivot immediately is Draymond Jones.
Yes.
All of a sudden, he becomes your number one internal priority to re-sign. And if you trade Bradley Chubb and you can't get something done with Draymond between now and March, you tag him, okay? Mm-hmm. But one thing that this tells me is if they trade Bradley Chubb in the next 22 hours, then Draymond Jones is on this team one way or another next year, probably with a long-term deal. And look, the other thing on Chubb is, I mean, personally, I'm kind of skeptical about giving somebody with his injury history the last 4 years a $20 million plus deal.
Well, and it's something Schlereth and Evans brought up this morning. I think it was a little bit before you came on. It might have been a little after you came on, but they were like, name the impact plays. I can think of Baron Browning impact plays. I can think of Randy Gregory impact plays. Hell, I can think of Nick Bonito impact plays. Chubb's had some. I'm not going to say he has had none, but he's run around out there like Keystone Cops sometimes, and I just get so worried there were times like when his knee was hitting the ground and stuff, and I was like, just get up, please don't get hurt. And it's a concern that you have. Plus, here's my take. Interior pressure is way more brutal on a quarterback than exterior pressure. And you've got pass rushers falling out of your pockets. George Payton, you drop something. Oh, it's a pass rusher. But like interior pressure, Draymond Jones is special. And you don't have it. We appreciate Henningsen and upside, whatever. But you've got Draymond Jones. This kid is a special player on the inside. And that's a different skill.
Right. And the other thing with Henningsen, look, Henningsen might be starting next year, but that's him starting with DJ on the nose when you're in base, DJ on the nose, and Draymond on the opposite side. Look, and Henningsen is good at cleaning up. Like, if someone else gets doubled, Matt Henningsen, we're seeing now more and more is, okay, if someone else gets doubled and Henningsen's free, he can be disruptive. Okay? That's all you're asking of him. That's perfectly fine. He fits in what the Broncos want to do on the defensive line. But when you got that guy like Draymond Jones, who has a very rare skill set, and this is the other thing that you have to weigh. Let's say you're saying, I got to pay Bradley Chubb or I pay Draymond Jones. Which one? Okay. Which is the easier to replace? There are more edges than interior pass rushers. And like you said, it's more important because you're getting to the quarterback quicker. At that point, it's a geometry of the field thing. Draymond Jones beats his man or makes his stunt. He's getting to the quarterback faster because of where he's aligned. It's
shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line.
Like I said, it's simple geometry, and that's why like somebody like him, he is treasured. I mean, the comp I make on him often is Jarrell Casey, and it's very appropriate that Jarrell Casey got to and Draymond Jones did share some time. And one of the reasons why I love that trade back in 2020, even though it was the COVID year, the weird year, and then Jarrell got hurt really quickly. But one of the reasons why I love that trade was here's the guy who can show Draymond Jones, okay, this is where you can go, and this is how you do it. And I think to this day, that exposure was invaluable for Draymond Jones because it looks like he's on that trajectory. It's a notch below Aaron Donald, but you're talking about very few guys that have that kind of skill set.
Very few guys with that skill set, and it was something Stink brought up. Jeffrey Simmons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, so it was on when you were going to Stink. Yep.
Yeah, he contemporized it a little bit. I said Jarrell Casey. He brought in the current guy, but I think I think both are very apt comparisons here.
Is Bradley Chubb a Denver Bronco by the time we do this show tomorrow?
Probably not. I think I'm not gonna say probably. I think not. Now that you've gotten if that is true, the Adam Schefter report is true, and I have no reason to believe it's not true.
Yeah. Because Adam gets information directly from the Broncos, usually from John Elway. We're just not gonna tell it like it is.
Well, he's going to get information exchange. He's getting it from elsewhere
information
too.
Exchange.
Yeah,
and this is an agent driven. Like there's a lot of insiders, Mace. We'll make fun of people off the air, but there's a lot of insiders that just talk to agents who will tell you the sky's purple, and you'll be like, okay. Schefter is not necessarily agent-fed information. He's talking to other John Elways with other teams, and now there's a bidding war.
Right,
bidding war in division with the Jets and the Dolphins.
Yeah, well, yeah, and the other thing also that's in play here. I mean, we saw the Roquan Smith trade earlier today, and it was a second and a fifth. And remember, Roquan Smith is an off-ball linebacker. If an off-ball linebacker is worth a second and a fifth, that doesn't mean that Bradley Chubb's only worth a second. Positional value matters. Yes. Edge has higher positional value than off-ball.
Yes.
It's the way of the NFL.
Right. The modern edge. I've tried to get this through to so many people, Mace. You're the only one that understands me. The modern edge is 270. Okay. Yeah. Von Miller's a freak. So the next Von Miller will know because he'll be 240 pounds and he'll be a freak. You know what most of those guys are? Shane Ray. Yeah. And I appreciate Shane as a friend, but like, no, 240 rushers don't exist today. You're 265, you're 270, and Chubb is a modern edge and making him more appealing and even has position versatility for different schemes.
Right. And that's another thing. At 270, you say, okay, we're a 4-3 team. You're going to go hand in the dirt more often than you were in Denver. Fine.
He can do it.
You know, he did it. He's done it here. He did it at NC State. I mean, what does it matter? That's just who he is. He's equipped to do that. Like, and that is like one of the reasons why he's valuable on the market like that is he's scheme independent. And then and then you figure it out from there. If you lose Chubb, look, you're getting smaller at the position because Randy Gregory, he's lithe and he's long. And then Baron Browning's 240, and Nick Bonito wants to get to 250, but he's not there. Nick Bonito's got probably a really good offseason. I think Nick Bonito and Greg Dulcich, the two of them may want to kind of be in the weight room together, pushing each other because
10 pounds of muscle.
Exactly. They're going to be kind of on the same plan, even though they're on different sides of the ball. And and when both of them do that, that's going to take both of them to the next level.
To the next level. It is Orange and Blue today on a Halloween edition. We appreciate everyone out there for watching. We'll see what the trade deadline brings. 2 p.m. Mountain Time. So by the time we're on tomorrow at 3:30 Mountain Time, we will know, have the Broncos been sellers or just set put? Because they're not going to be buyers. Most likely. You never know. We shall see. Orange and Blue today. Check us out every day on the fan socials. We appreciate you. He is Andrew Mason. You follow him on Twitter at Mace Denver. I am at Cecil Lammey. Again, denverfan.com. We appreciate you. Be safe, be kind, know that you are appreciated. Stay tuned. And as always, I command that you stay frosty.